one. They pinned this man one time. Pinned him again for a 5 count.
He told the referee keep counting to 5.
The fact of the matter is this: on the five-time WCW champion, now can you dig that?
Oh, what is up, Straight Talk Society? This is your host, Trevor, and I'm back with another episode of 5 Count. My 5 takeaways from tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. There's going to be a little tweak to the show. It's supposed to be my top 5, but these shows essentially break down to be a Raw and SmackDown review. So it's a review show, but I'll still be giving you my 5 takeaways from the show tonight, which I thought was a pretty good show tonight. I thought the crowd was shit, but the show was really good. I thought the show was really good, moved a lot of things along, and we'll get to something later on that I thought was tremendous foreshadowing that I've been talking about for weeks now. But nevertheless, everybody's talking about it. You watch wrestling, you kind of know where these things are going. But here we go. Let's get into the 5 takeaways from tonight's show. It's late. Now I got to get out of here, so let's go. So, number 5. And these are, the tag team matches are interchangeable, but tonight they had a tag team fatal 4-way match for the new number 1 contenders for the women's world tag team titles. So you had Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark taking on Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, Maxine Dupree and Ivory Nile, and Dakota Kai and Kairi Sane, because Io Shirai was in a match late. She was in a King of the Ring qualifier, and Asuka is out injured. So you had Kairi and Dakota, which I actually like that pairing together. So the match was kind of sloppy in the beginning, but it did get good. Everybody had their spots, and I'm gonna give some credit where credit is due. Maxine Dupree didn't completely shit the bed. She actually looked good tonight. Her kicks landed. Everything outside of that stupid reverse worm, she's got to stop doing that. But she looked competent in the ring with her move set, and it was a good time. So one thing that did happen in the match, I'm going to get to it. So, guys, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark won, and so they were interviewing Shayna and Zoe in the back, and oh my God, what is her name? Bernardo, oh my good, Sonya Deville. Yeah, I'm just having a brain fart. It's late. Sonya Deville returned. So I'm glad to see that, man. She's been out for like 9-10 months, it seems like. So I'm glad that she's back. So we'll see where that goes, because, she was Shayna Baszler's former partner. But Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark did win. So they'll get a title shot to be announced at a later date against Jade and Bianca, Melanin Magic, as I call them. But Dakota Kai, man, she got her ass kicked in this match. So Dakota Kai, you see this picture, her face is all busted up. And there was a spot in this match where Ivy Nile hit her with a German suplex that landed right on her shoulder. And she immediately rolled out of the ring. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, please don't let anything be wrong with her. Please don't let anything be wrong with her. Seems like she was okay. I hope nothing comes out later that anything was messed up. But, she took ass kicking in this. Her face got busted up pretty good. But, hey, I like Dakota Kai, man. So I hope everything's good for her, because I see nothing but great things on the horizon for her. So My number 4 takeaway from tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw would be the men's tag team match. So you finally had Awesome Truth taking on the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Again, another good match. Before the match started, you have R-Truth saying, you got Miz kind of worried, like, oh my God, there's so many of them. They have numbers, and you have R-Truth saying, hey, I spoke to Andre the Giant. We're going to be all right. Because R-Truth's gimmick is he says wrong things. He's kind of crazy. We just laugh at it, whatever. So he says he talked to Andre the Giant. Everything's going to be all right. Everybody's looking at him like, you're crazy. Miz was like, Andre the Giant's been gone for over 30 years. So one thing they got to do, I love their entrance, but they got to stop letting Miz ad-lib, because Miz ruins the song, because he doesn't know it. So, whenever R-Truth defers to him, it's like he's just kind of fumbling and bumbling. Just let R-Truth rap. Just let R-Truth rap to the ring. It's fine. You guys will be okay. It's kind of how they were when they were heels and they first did start doing this. It's fine. Everything will work. So Miz and Truth did end up winning the match. And the Andre the Giant that R-Truth was talking about ended up being Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman came down, took out the Judgment Day. Miz and Truth retained the titles. More dissension in Judgment Day. Hey, Finn Balor loses another match. I talked about that a couple of weeks ago, that he is now just being the guy that just eats. He didn't eat the pin, but he's just always on the losing end of things, which I do not like, man. Finn Balor is so great. He recently re-signed with the company. He deserves so much better. And I know probably they're going to have him feud with Damian Priest, but man, I just can't stand to see him losing so much. But nevertheless, let's get into the third takeaway from tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. Oh my God. Braun Breaker had a match tonight against some dude named Kale Dixon. And man, Braun Breaker destroyed this poor guy. I mean, he hit him with spears that took his soul from him, like took his soul completely out of his body. Then he repeated the spot that he did to Von Wagner, where he had his head between the steps and he brutalized him with the chair. They stretchered this guy out and everything. There was a spot where Braun Strowman ran around the ring and hit this dude with a spear, and I thought he just completely depleted him and separated the guy in half. Braun Strowman hits those ropes so hard. But why was Braun Strowman doing this? Because Braun Strowman wants to be in the King of the Ring tournament. That's how you make things special. You have people actively doing crazy shit because they're omitted from the tournament. So Braun Strowman is literally going on this entire wrecking spree because he was omitted from the King of the Ring tournament. And that's just as simple as it is. It makes the tournament seem so much more bigger than what it is. So in the back, he gets in Adam Pearce's face and he basically says, hey, this was your fault. All you had to do was put me in the tournament. And Adam Pearce is just looking as they stretcher this poor Kale Dixon guy out. And it's just like, oh my God. And then later on in the night, I don't have it pictured here, but Ilya Dragunov is talking with Ricochet, and Braun Strowman comes out of nowhere, spears Ricochet, cuts him in half. So I think that's going to be the next feud, that they'll first feed Ricochet to Strowman. So I had somebody in mind, and they may still do it, but they may just take some time to get there. We haven't seen the Giant Omos in a while. We have not seen Omos in a while. And from what I know, he's still under contract. I think that Omos will come out at some point, and that'll be Braun's big feat that he has to overcome. Omos will get a couple of licks on him, and then Braun Breaker will just completely destroy him. Hey, if Omos got a match with Brock Lesnar, then Omos can damn sure get a match with Braun Breaker and put Braun Breaker over. Because Omos at this point, he is what he is. I hopefully he gets better, but who knows? But I'd also like to see this match lead to an eventual Braun Breaker versus Braun Strowman match. That's where I ultimately think it's going, is that Braun Strowman is the ultimate prize for Braun Breaker. And you just have those two guys do just the ultimate, in words of Sean Ross Sapp, a big beefy son of a bitch match, and just have them go in there and beat the holy hell out of them. I see you guys starting to come in. Please make sure and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I'm going live after every Raw and SmackDown show. This Saturday, we will be doing a live watch along to the Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul main event. And then we'll be reviewing Crown Jewel King and Queen of the Ring right after that. And then Wrestling with Reality the following Wednesday, we'll do part 2 of This Is Sting, our career retrospect on Sting. So tune into the channel, man. We got a bunch of stuff for you over here. So let me move on. My number 2 takeaway from tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw, and this would have been number 1 had it not been for these fantastic King of the Ring matches. But this was a show-long storyline that started from the beginning of the show, and I loved it. And this is what actually woke the crowd up, because, like I say, this crowd was a shit crowd from the beginning. Even when Sami Zayn came out and cut his promo, they were really dead until one person in particular came out. And my number 2 takeaway from tonight is free Otis. My goodness, is Otis over. The crowd loves Otis. The crowd loves Otis, but in order to get a great babyface, you got to have a fantastic heel. Cody Rhodes wouldn't have been so over if it wasn't for the bloodline. Daniel Bryan, I call him Daniel Bryan, still wouldn't have been so over had it not been for the Authority. I mean, it is what it is. You need that perfect villain. And this perfect villain for Otis is none other than Chad Gable. Oh, my goodness. So Chad Gable and Sami Zayn had a match tonight, which I do not like. And let me tell you why. So you have the PLE this Saturday. You have the triple threat. Sami Zayn versus Gable versus Big Bronson Reed. Why, in logic, because I always talk about logic. That's how I watch wrestling. Why me as a champion? Why would I want to face one of my competitors in a non-title match before the big money payday, before the big match? This guy could go in there and try to hurt me. Why not put him in there against a Tozawa? Why not put him in there against just random anybody on the roster? But here's a suggestion. Why even have him wrestle? Sami Zayn, you got to make sure that he doesn't get hurt and things like that. But I get it. It's means to an end. So these two had a match. It's another great match. These guys just have great matches, but that wasn't the story tonight. The story was Otis. So Chad Gable, he just comes out and he's just shit talking Alpha Academy, telling them how terrible they are. And they are. I mean, guys know how I feel about Maxine Dupree. She had a good showing tonight, but for the most part, she's been terrible. Tozawa would be good, but he's comic relief. And Otis, I still love Otis. I think Otis could be something, a real good big man, if he ever takes things serious, or they give him a more serious character. But Chad Gable is just there, just berating them. He's wrestling. He's telling Maxine to slap Sammy. She doesn't want to do it. So he kicks Maxine and Tozawa from ringside. Sammy's outside. Chad Gable's telling Otis to, hey, hit him, but he doesn't want to do it. All of a sudden, Sammy's in the corner getting ready to deliver a haluva kick. Otis comes up on the ring apron and nails him with a big clothesline. And then that allows Chad Gable to hit a Chaos Theory for the 1-2-3. Again, non-title. It's a means to an end. I would have rather them not have the match, but this story is about Otis. And the crowd is pissed now, because now the crowd's like, oh, crap. He was having a conscience. He was getting ready to finally stand up for himself. But, he helps Gable. So Gable's all happy, calling him the number 1 guy and everything. So later on, Otis is in the back with Sami Zayn, and he's apologizing. It's like, hey, and Sammy's like, hey, when are you going to realize that this guy means you no good and this and that and this and that? And hey, typical Stockholm syndrome. Like, I mean, bro, stuff doesn't have to be complicated. So wrestling is male soap opera. All you got to do is just make it make sense. And this is a perfect story. This story is everything in the world right now. People loving their abusers, and you got that one person trying to tell them like, "Hey, break away from it." So when Otis rears up and knocks the shit out of Gable, it is going to be the biggest pop of the night. Like, I mean, because the fans are clearly behind him, and Gable is a dirtbag slimeball heel, and you could obviously tell that he's using Otis, and it's just, you know what I mean? It's like when the turn comes, it is going to be epic. So one thing that happened tonight that was a bit of foreshadowing, which I've been saying for weeks that this is going to happen. I'm not the only one, but I do my show, so I'm going to give myself the credit. So tonight they cut back to the back, and Chad Gable is just hamming it up with the Creeds. Now, we've been saying for the longest that this is what you want to see right here. They can call him the new American Alpha, because I know they wouldn't call him Team Angle, but they could be the new American Alpha or whatever you want to call them. But I think at some point, Chad Gable is going to dump his current cast of characters and get a more serious cast of characters in the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile. And the reason I say Ivy Nile is going to join them, after the women's 4-way tag match tonight, they panned out and shot out. They took a shot at Ivy Nile, and the look on her face, the look of disgust on her face. I wouldn't be surprised if within the next few weeks, Ivy Nile turns on Maxine Dupree. I'm hoping that that's what happens, because Ivy Nile is great. And they kind of kept her and the Creeds away for a while, but I think this would be a perfect stable, the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile with Chad Gable. So you could have Chad Gable as the IC champion. You could have the Creed brothers as the tag team champions. And Ivy Nile could win the women's title at some point, but she doesn't even need to be the champion. She could just be the little pit bull, as they call her, that just starts up shit and, takes care of the other women. This writes itself. They got to do this. This would be one of those things that if they didn't do this, this is like, this goes up on the list of terrible things or what could have been, moments in WWE. So I think that they're going to do this, because Triple H wouldn't have teased this. This is the first time you actually see, we've just been saying that they'd be a good fit, but this is the first time they're actually hamming it up and chuckling and all that stuff. Hey, it writes itself. It writes itself. That's why wrestling is so great, man. That's why after 38 years, I'm still watching it. 38 years, I still got my wrestling belts. It is what it is, man. I love this. Shout out to It Must Be Written. How do you think the wrestling game has changed since the very beginning? I'm a big fan of it, but I do miss the old days, even when the WWE. So It Must Be Written. I'm an old school fan. I've been watching this since I was 5 years old. I'm 44 now. So I've been watching this for a long, long time, from the territory days. My first introduction to wrestling was Georgia Championship Wrestling. First thing I ever watched. So I go back that far. It has changed because I'm more of a purist. I don't like the 100,000 super kicks in the match. I don't like all the no selling. I like my matches to tell a story. That's why I'm not really. So, all right, let me not say not really. I like AEW, but AEW to me is just to fill for a niche type of fan that just loves the no selling and loves matches without story. I love matches that tell stories in them. And that's the biggest difference what WWE does between anybody else. I mean, I already got Will Ospreay as my favorite, as my wrestler of the year. But if you've seen one Ospreay match, you've seen them all. He has zero stories in his matches. None of his matches mean anything. It's just a bunch of spamming of finishers, and it is what it is. They're exciting as hell to watch, but give me storytelling. Give me a match where you got a heel, you got a babyface, you got a guy coming fighting from underneath, you got a guy getting his behind kicked, and then he has to come back. And oh my God, and don't let it be tag team wrestling where you got that hot tag. There's nothing better than tag team wrestling. So I love wrestling, man. I've been watching this since I was 5. We started doing wrestling with reality last year, and and we just been doing it ever since. I just started doing these 5 counts a few months ago just to review shows right after they come on. But yeah, I love wrestling, man. I love it. So hey, I can talk wrestling forever, man. I love it. So let's get into my number one takeaway. So my number one takeaway from tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. And by the way, Monday Night Raw has to find some type of way to get to 2 hours. I'm curious to see what it's going to be like on Netflix, because you could do more. Monday Night Raw would be such a fantastic show if it was 2 hours, because even between these main events and the main event, you had this long commercial before they came back. Man, you guys always coming in when I'm about to wrap up. They have all these long commercials towards the end and things like that. It's just a 2-hour show would be so much more tighter and crisp. I get why they do it, because it's money. They're not going to turn around money. I remember JBL said, hey, would you turn down, I think what it was, like an extra $250,000 or some craziness like that? No, I wouldn't. But for the wrestling fan in me and the person that has to sit there and watch this, and I got to get up 5 o'clock in the morning, I got to watch it to try to review it. Yeah, I wish it was 2 hours. So I'm very curious to see what it would be like on Netflix. Like SmackDown is the perfect show, 2-hour show. Hell, SmackDown could be 90 minutes. If SmackDown was 90 minutes, it'd be the greatest show, be the greatest wrestling show ever. I mean, it is what it is. Less is more. You can cut down on some of the backstage skits and things like that. But again, this is Triple H regime. For the most part, they've been really, really doing stuff really, really good. They had a few hiccups, but they're correcting that. So let's go on. My number one takeaway from tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw is the King of the Ring semifinals matches. So let's start with the women's semifinals. You had Lia Valkyria versus Io Sky, and my goodness, was this great. Again, the crowd was terrible tonight, but the crowd eventually got into this. This match was fantastic. I mean, Lia Valkyria, I watch NXT, so I always knew she was good. Io Sky, Shirai, whatever you want to call her. From her, I only know her from NXT. I wasn't watching Stardom or anywhere else that she was, but this woman is tremendous. And these two put on a great match. Again, though, I would have loved to see this match on a pay-per-view. And it looks like they may be going back to it just because of at the end of the match with Io Sky taking the mic and speaking Japanese to her. But I'd love to see this match on pay-per-view. This was like the match with Io Sky and Natalya in the opening round. Just tremendous. Io Sky has been tremendous in this tournament, and I'm glad that the crowd is finally getting to see what she can do. Not because it seems like she's in Damage Control, but that's more of Dakota Kai's thing. So Io Sky, it seems like she's branching out more on her own. And I love it, man. Lia Valkyria, she got the Becky Lynch run, which, by the way, I can't. I mean, I got to give my weekly Becky Lynch hate. Becky Lynch is not good. I'm sorry. I mean, I know what people love to say. She's a Spitfire. She's a female Stone Cold. No, she's not. Liv Morgan destroyed her on the mic tonight. Liv Morgan seemed more natural. Liv actually made sense at what she was saying. Like, hey, you're the one who hit me first. And all of that. So I hope Liv takes that belt from her Saturday. Just, I'd like to see Liv as champion, because Liv has really been doing good stuff since she's come back. But this match, man, Lia Valkyria and Io Sky was just tremendous, man. What it was just great, from the dives and the moonsaults. And what I noticed, I heard about it last week and I didn't pay attention to it, but I noticed it this week, is when they went to commercial, they showed the replay instead of just going to commercial cold like they normally do. They went to commercial in a replay, kind of like you're fading into another scene. And they went to commercial with a replay of Io Sky doing a moonsault from the second rope to the outside. Just a little stuff, man. Fantastic. The match ends with Live Valkyria going for a Nightwing. Io Sky counters it, but then Live Valkyria sits down, kind of a la Bret Hart, British Bulldog from SummerSlam 1992. Just a great finish for the 1, 2, 3. Live Valkyria moves on to take on the winner of Nia Jax versus Bianca Belair, which I'm hoping it is Nia Jax, and I hope Nia Jax just ends up winning the entire tournament. But we'll get to that this Friday. Great match. I'm loving what they're doing here now. They're doing these interviews after the matches. They do it for the women just to get the characters over. Again, Triple H is of the old school. See how it must be written saying, oh, we think about old school wrestling. This is stuff that you did in old school wrestling. If the fans don't know the characters, because the fans don't watch NXT, main roster fans don't watch NXT. I watch NXT because I love NXT. I watch everything. But just endear these people to the fans. Get them out there. Let them talk. Let them, get used to the fans. And even in her entrance now, you can hear some fans doing the woo woo. But again, this was a terrible crowd tonight. This crowd wasn't anything to write home about. But this match was great, man. So Live Valkyria, her road's going to end this Saturday because I wholeheartedly expect Nia Jax to just go ahead and put her out of her misery. I mean, hey, Nia Jax needs this. Nia Jax has to be the queen, and the queen of the king and queen of the ring gimmick work better on a heel. It's just like, come on, man. What good kings do you know? I mean, like, come on, man. It's just so much better. It's a bad guy gimmick, just like the Money in the Bank. It's a bad guy gimmick. It's a heel gimmick. But I can't wait to see that match with Live Valkyria. And I'm just going to say either Nia Jax or Bianca Belair. But I think Nia Jax is going to get it in some nefarious way. So let's get on to the last match so I can get out of here. Oh, man. Main event, Jey Uso versus Gunther. Now, these two have wrestled before. Main event, listen, I need everybody to just stop. Just stop the cap. Stop the hate. This man is over. This man gets the loudest reactions on the show weekly on a consistent basis. His light show thing is over. I saw this dude in person at a SmackDown a couple of months ago when they came here, and it's legit. It's on my YouTube shorts. His entrance is legit. The fans love him. His moveset needs to change, but this man is awesome, man. Jey Uso, but he's in the ring with the ring general Gunther, and there's nobody better than Gunther right now. Gunther could have a match with anybody. Gunther could slow it down. Gunther, listen, he was my wrestler of the year last year. I think he was everybody's wrestler of the year. You had somebody try to throw in Orange Cassidy, which is crazy. But I'm saying consensus. He was the consensus Wrestling with Reality wrestler of the year last year. And I mean, Will Ospreay will probably get it this year, but Gunther will be back in the runnings this year. I can't wait for him to be the world champion. This man is awesome. And this match was awesome. Again, I'm not a fan of Jey Uso's in-ring style because he relies too much on his moveset. You talk about John Cena having 5 moves of doom. Jey Uso has a super kick. He has his dives. He has his Samoan drop, and he has the Uso splash. And that's it. But Gunther will bring it out of you. Gunther was just battering him with those chops. He hit Jey Uso one time in the beginning of the match where Jey just let out this audible screech. Like, oh my God, he hit him so hard. But Gunther is just the man. I had Gunther winning this tournament from the beginning. Gunther did go on to defeat Jey Uso. So the finish was a little bit wonky because Jey went for a spear and Gunther barely hit the referee. Like, I mean, he just grazed the referee. I feel like the ref was out of position. He should have got hit a little bit more to make it look, a little more believable, but whatever. It's wrestling. Sometimes you got to just, suspend your disbelief. So Jey Uso's down. I mean, the ref's down. Gunther's down. Jey Uso gets the Uso splash. So he gets the visual. He gets the visual pin. So not outright. So there's a little dispute there. Like, you're like, oh man, I would have had you had the ref not been out. So he could have been counting if he was coherent. So you always have that. But Gunther begins to transition him into, I don't know, because they're going to correct me, into, it's not a Koji clutch. It's, I mean, like a Darce choke. I mean, some variation of a choke with a body vice. And he put Jey Uso to sleep. I did not see them doing this type of finish, the knockout finish, basically the TKO. I did not see this type of finish. I thought it was going to be with that half crab that he's been putting everybody away with. But again, Gunther continues to add more moves. All right, it must be written. I got to go to work soon too. So I'm about to wrap up. So tomorrow we got Tapest Politics. That's our political show. This Wednesday, we'll be doing This Is Sting. We've been doing the Sting retrospect. We're only going to cover his TNA run because it's too long. We did the WCW run. Now we're going to do his Impact run. And then when we come back again with it, we'll cover his WWE and AEW run. This Thursday, Stacey Mobley will be in the building teaching a lesson. Nothing Friday. This Saturday, we'll be doing a live watch along for King and Queen of the Ring, the main event, Cody versus Logan. We'll be doing a live watch along, and then we'll review the show afterwards. Man Talk Monday. Just found out Man Talk Monday because Monday's Memorial Day. We'll be doing Man Talk Monday on a Sunday. We'll be doing it this Sunday. Special noontime start for Man Talk Monday. So that should be interesting. And then we'll go from there. But I mean, Gunther ended up taking him out with this choke. Just fantastic. Jey ref drops the arms. He's out cold. It's over. Gunther advances to the next round as he should. And now he'll take on the winner of Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga, which I absolutely believe Randy Orton's going to beat Tama Tonga with the help of Kevin Owens coming back and causing Tama Tonga the victory. And then the finals will be Randy Orton versus Gunther, and what should be a tremendous match because you got the ring general Gunther versus the ring general Randy Orton. Oh man, that's going to be fantastic. That match is going to be fantastic. But in the end, Gunther should walk away with the win. So I got Gunther winning, and I got Nia Jax winning. Now I'm saying two heels are going to win. WWE doesn't normally do the two heels. They should. Because it's just the two best. It should be Nia and Gunther. But if I had to do if I just had to do a crazy pick, which I hope doesn't happen, it'll be Bianca and Gunther. They'll somehow get Bianca Belair in there some type of way just so she can have a Queen of the Ring under her belt. But I hope it ends up being Nia Jax and Gunther as the winners. But again, man, check out this show tonight. Great show. The show long story with Chad Gable is tremendous. Chad Gable is awesome. I can't believe Vince McMahon had that guy in some basketball shorts calling him Shorty G. Again, Vince McMahon is an idiot. He doesn't know anything about pro wrestling. CM Punk was right. He don't know what it takes to be a professional wrestler. Like, for real. It's crazy. Chad Gable is awesome. Man, I don't know, man. When Otis turns on him, that is going to be like the great. And you know what? They shouldn't give it to us right now. They should make us wait. As a matter of fact, the Creed brothers should attack this current stable and kick the other two bums out, but make Otis stay there. It's kind of like the lackey, kind of like a Virgil. And then when he eventually gets fed up, maybe Sami Zayn will get him under his wing, and then he'll end up snapping and he'll just beat the hell out of Chad Gable, and it'll be all will be right with the world. But those are my 5 takeaways from tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. Until this Friday of SmackDown, peace!
Bundy pinned this man one time. Pinned him again for a 5 count.
He told the referee keep counting to 5.
The fact of the matter is this: on the five-time WCW champion, now Chad